now at 6.
Light rain showers overnight, a dry weekend ahead.
A developing story. New details in a police training exercise gone wrong. A closer look at the weapon that exploded in an officer's hand. A woman jumping to safety to escape a fast-moving fire in New Hampshire. Mount Ida College shutting its doors. More than 1,000 students impacted. A fashion statement in Lawrence. Students saying no to skirts and protesting for pants. And emotional stories about the gift of life. Local mothers spreading the message about the importance of organ donations. 7 News at 6 starts now.
Messy roads out there, and in some cases, dangerous drives. Look at that car flipped over in Spencer today.
In the spring snow you saw, yes, it's still blanketing New England. Winter may be long gone technically, but flakes were flying yet again across the region this afternoon. I think at this point, spring may be afraid of New England, so it needs to show up. But temperatures are warming up just a bit, turning that snow really more into rain.
Yeah, hopefully that snow is going to be long gone real soon, and some improvement for the weekend. Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Reiner with those details.
I would imagine since we shot that video, more on that weekend forecast coming up in a few minutes.
All right, JR, thanks. You can track the weather, whether it's spring or snow or winter or whatever, anytime. Download our 7 News apps or log on to WHDH.com for what you need to know before walking out the door.
We are following some breaking news, watching this minivan that crashed through an embankment on Beacon Street, and crews had to rescue people inside. 7's Michael Yoshida is right there and brings us the latest information on what happened.
Evening, guys. Yeah, you can see the van over my shoulder. This happened around 4:40, and you mentioned the people needing to be rescued. I'm told there were 2 people in the van, another person in a car that crashed into it. Thankfully, minor injuries, and at this point, they're working to remove that van. You can see it right there. It was hanging over the edge earlier. They've moved in 2 vehicles, actually, a wrecker, and then on the other side of it, there's another tow truck as they're working to pull it back over the edge. I think if you can go to a photo from earlier, you'll see just how far it was over the edge. And at this point, this has been going on for about 40 minutes to an hour now at this point. And if we bring it back live, we'll get you another good look at this. You can see it looks like it's hooked on a part of the barrier that it crashed through. There's a construction site below this edge, this embankment, and we're told it was about an 18 to 20 foot drop. 2 people were trapped inside of this van when this happened. We're told one of them was actually in a wheelchair, so once firefighters and rescue crews got here, they were first working to secure the van to make sure it didn't go farther over the edge. And then at that point, they were able to get 2 people out of the van. I'm told they had minor injuries. They were taken to the hospital. There was also wow, and you can see this van up in the air now. It's on the back end of this wrecker here, so it looks like they're working to get it, the final bit of it off and out of this area. But a very frightening situation. We were talking to one gentleman who was working in the area, and he heard a loud bang, and he walked out, and that's when he saw the van over the edge. Again, about 18 to 20 feet below an active construction site. So obviously very concerning if people had been working or below that when this happened. Firefighters telling me, thankfully, this was not a lot worse of a situation. Again, just minor injuries involved, and you can see that van right there. We're going to stay out here and keep monitoring the situation for you guys. So we'll keep you updated as it progresses. I know it's causing a few issues for traffic here along Beacon Street, but for now we're going to send it back to you.
All right, Mike. And we're following a developing story out of Hooksett, New Hampshire. One person has died after a crash on 93 South. The fire chief says the call came in just before 3 this afternoon for an SUV that slammed into the back of a tractor trailer on the shoulder of the highway. You can see the images here. The right 2 lanes of 93 South in that area have been shut down. And turning to a developing story right now, we're learning new details about an explosion that severely injured a Middleborough police officer. And this happened at a SWAT training exercise in Bridgewater. Authorities gave an update to the situation just a short time ago. 7's Kimberly Bookman is live in Bridgewater with the very latest. Kimberly.
Yeah, Justin, let's start with the condition of that officer. We understand he had surgery this week. He was released from the hospital, MGH, on Thursday. We understand he's home with his family and recovering, but it is going to be a long road ahead for him. And authorities tell us they are trying to reach out to the manufacturer to try and figure out why all of this happened. In the meantime, they are trying to let local authorities know exactly what gun this is. So if they have it in their armories and they are using it, that they should probably stop until this is all investigated. For now, reporting live from Bridgewater, Kimberly Bookman, 7 News.
Following a developing story that you'll see on Just One Station, Deval Patrick's brother-in-law arrested again. Former governor's brother, 65-year-old Bernard Sy, apparently tried to contact a victim in an ongoing assault case, and that violates a restraining order she has against him. This was in a Quincy courtroom this afternoon. Prosecutors saying Sy reached out to a mutual friend days after being released from jail.
The defendant stated that he wanted the third party's help to set up a meeting on Sunday, April 22nd, between the victim and the defendant near the church without her knowledge. When the third party did not agree to this on the phone, the defendant stated, quote, "on to plan B," and hung up.
Sy is charged with kidnapping, raping, and assaulting a woman. His bail was revoked, and he is back in jail tonight.
We're following more news tonight. This is the aftermath of a massive fire that ripped through a building in New Hampshire. You can see officials there still on scene. The flames forcing a woman to jump to safety from the 3rd floor. Investigators are now still trying to pinpoint exactly what started the fire. 7 Steve Cooper is live in Hampton with the details. Steve?
Justin, as you can imagine, these are some pretty terrifying moments for that resident who just had to get out of the way of the fast-moving flames that are being fueled by the high winds here last night. You can see what's left of the building right now, and tonight fire investigators want to know why those flames took off so fast. The fire chief says damage was said in excess of $1 million. Get a look at what's left of the building, because next week heavy equipment is going to be brought in. They're going to have to knock the whole building down here. We're also told that the Red Cross is helping out those residents who were displaced by the fast-moving flames. We're live in Hampton, New Hampshire tonight. Steve Cooper, 7 News.
A Wareham man appearing in court today in connection with a fire that destroyed a home last week. 40-year-old Mondell Johnson was arraigned on arson and attempted murder charges. Police arrested him last night in connection with a fire on Restful Lane in Wareham. Investigators determined the flames that engulfed this home were intentionally set, intended to kill a woman who was beaten up in that house. Police are saying that Johnson lit pieces of newspaper on fire and threw them at the woman who was doused in oil. The woman was able to run away to a nearby home for help.
The young lady just came to the door screaming, upset. I just automatically went into father mode. I just took the initiative and just trying to look out for the young lady. That was my objective, to try to make sure she was okay.
The woman has since been released from the hospital, said to be doing okay, and that suspect is being held without bail.
7, the struggling Mount Ida College in Newton is closing for good. School officials have now struck a deal with another college so students can complete their degree. 7's Dan Housley is live in Newton with the details. Dan?
Well, I've been talking to some very surprised and downcast students, many of them with scholarships and unique programs, who now say their future is up in the air and they feel the college they love has let them down. UMass Amherst plans to turn this 72-acre campus into a satellite campus for UMass Amherst, so some of their students who have internships in Boston can spend the semester here, and their Boston-based alumni has a closer place to keep in touch. We're live in Newton. Dan Housley, 7 News.
And breaking news right now from Arizona. The governor of Arizona says 150 of the state's National Guard members will be sent to the U.S.-Mexico border next week. President Trump said this week he wants to send up to 4,000 National Guard members to the border to help federal officials fight illegal immigration and drug trafficking.
Protesting for pants. Students at a Lawrence charter school coming together and trying to fight the dress code there. Girls at the school are required to wear skirts this time of year, but with the wet, cold weather we're having, some of them are just saying it's not fair. And the boys are supporting them in a pretty unique way. 7's Jonathan Hall, live in Lawrence with the story.
How about some of those boys wearing skirts, Kim? Well, this charter school has a very strict dress code. Goes back more than 20 years, but now the girls are taking a stand, and they're getting a lot of support. Oh, yeah, and that's a lesson we all learn, right? Well, the superintendent says he hopes to have a temporary plan in place within a week or two, which will let the girls wear pants for the remainder of this school year. But until then, he hopes they'll follow the rules. We're live in Lawrence. Jonathan Hall, 7 News.
There's more coming up on 7 News, including inspiring stories about the gift of life.
The emotional reasons why 2 local mothers are encouraging other people to register as organ donors.